Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy Script here, back with another episode of The Doors to Success. For those who are new here, let me break it down for you real quick. This series dives deep into the careers of rappers and entertainers who've seemingly navigated the shadowy rituals and sacrifices often whispered about in the industry. Now, this isn't some new conspiracy. Fans have been speculating for decades that artists and celebrities might be trading something far more valuable than just their talent to reach the top. And it's not just fans. Plenty of artists and actors themselves have dropped hints, whether dead serious or trolling, about the darker sides of fame. If you want a deeper dive into this concept, I highly recommend checking out my video on Faustian bargains for some eye-opening examples. Here's where it gets interesting. The artist Nori once broke it down in a way that confirmed what many have suspected for years. During a 2014 interview with Vlad TV, he described the music industry as a series of doors that artists must walk through to keep climbing the ladder. So let me break it down for you. Door 1, the independent route, where artists try to see how far they can go on their own, battling against the music industry machine. Door 2, what Nori alluded to as the fruity stuff, which many interpret as humiliation rituals or compromising situations. And finally, Door 3, the sacrifice, often alluding to losing someone close to them in exchange for fame. Today, we're diving into the story of Tyga, the West Coast rapper who's been in the game for over a decade. Now, this hits a little different because Tyga recently announced the tragic loss of his mother at just 53 years old. Tyga's career has been a roller coaster, filled with huge hits, iconic mixtapes, and moments that make you wonder if he's walked through the infamous doors himself. So, without further ado, let's take a closer look at Tyga's upbringing, his rise to fame, and how his journey might just align with the concept of the doors to success. Let's get into it. Tyga, born Michael Ray Stevenson on November 19, 1989 in Compton, California, grew up in a household deeply influenced by his Vietnamese and Jamaican heritage. Around the turn of the millennium, his family moved to Gardena, California, where his love for music began to blossom. Inspired by hip-hop heavyweights like Fabulous, Eminem, and Lil Wayne, Tyga started honing his craft early, spitting bars in rap contests with friends and sharing his tracks in online chat rooms. But life wasn't always smooth for Tyga. His parents split up during his childhood, and his father's legal troubles eventually led to jail time. Raised by his single mother, Tyga watched her work tirelessly to provide a stable upbringing. Despite the challenges, he always had a burning desire to be in the spotlight. What many might not know is that Tyga's first mixtape, Young on Probation, in 2007, featured none other than Kendrick Lamar and J-Rock. Long before they became household names, grinding locally, Tyga kept dropping songs and performing wherever he could, building momentum in the underground scene.
In the theater, we do so many goddamn shows, I don't even know where we're performing. They just give me the mic and I just go on, you know.
His big break came through a family connection. His cousin, Travis McCoy, the frontman of Gym Class Heroes, took notice of his talent and helped open doors to the next level of his career.
So one day we was out there passing out Tyga's mixtape, Young on Probation. We see Travis McCoy walking down the street. I noticed him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, that's the guy that's saying, take a look at my girlfriend. And I'm telling T, like, yo, pass him your mixtape. And he walks up to him, gave him the mixtape. And that's how we linked up with Gym Class Heroes and Fall Out Boy, that moment right there on Melrose.
By the mid-2000s, Gym Class Heroes were blowing up with their unique fusion of rap and rock, catching the attention of Fall Out Boy, who were dominating the charts at the time. The connection between the two bands proved to be a game changer. Gym Class Heroes went on tour, packed out stadiums, and dominated radio waves across the nation. Meanwhile, Tyga was still grinding back in LA, hustling to make a name for himself. When Travis McCoy and Tyga linked up, they instantly clicked, and Travis decided to take him under his wing, even signing him to his own imprint at the time, Bat Squad.
Man, Travi, Gym Class Status, Gym Class Heroes, Bat Squad CEO, you already know. Grind to the shine, get your name known. Listen, I'm gonna introduce you to two up-and-coming cats who just happen to be my artists. One, my little cousin Tyga, first member of the Bat Squad, the Cadence family, doing his thing. He got the single pop and coconut juice. I'm gonna let Tyga show you how he does. Ty fly guy, right? Give him a little something.
Yeah, you already know what it is. Oh, okay.
With Travis's industry connections, Tyga got some serious opportunities, including a career milestone moment at the 2007 MTV Video Music Awards. Tyga took the stage alongside Gym Class heroes Fall Out Boy and Lil Wayne. Rapping over a Fall Out Boy track, it was a massive look for Tyga, and it marked the beginning of his rise to the mainstream. By 2008, Tyga, with the help of his cousin and Gym Class Heroes frontman Travis McCoy, dropped the visuals for his first official project, No Introduction, with the lead single, Coconut Juice. The track was a quintessential party anthem for its time, setting the tone for the sound Tyga would ride with for much of his career. While the song didn't catapult him into full-blown stardom just yet, it did land him some major cameos in the music video, thanks to Travis's connections. Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy and Lil Wayne both made appearances, and fun fact, even Schoolboy Q popped up in the video, long before anyone knew him as an artist. That same year, Lil Wayne took notice of Tyga's potential and extended an offer to sign him to his Young Money label. Naturally, Tyga jumped at the opportunity of a lifetime. This signing marked the moment Tyga truly began to shine. He landed a feature on the smash hit Bedrock from the Young Money collaboration album, sharing the spotlight with rising stars like Nicki Minaj and Drake. It was here that Tyga solidified his place in the game, proving he could hold his own alongside some of hip-hop's future legends. But it's worth mentioning at this point of the video that Travis McCoy, the so-called cousin of Tyga, revealed in a 2022 Hot New Hip Hop exclusive interview that Tyga didn't really credit him for his early career support, with most of the recognition going to Lil Wayne for discovering Tyga. Travis also clarified that Tyga isn't actually his blood cousin, though he still refers to him as one.
My little cousin Tyga.
Then, wait, so, and you said that the thing about Gym Class Heroes, Travi being cousins with Tyga, that was made up by the label?
Yeah, that was made up, man. That was some industry shit that just happened because, you know, it's called a pitch. You know, every time a new artist come out, they got to have some type of pitch or some type of story. They didn't know what to say.
About Tyga, that was kind of
yeah,
like...
they didn't know what to say. Like, how the fuck this guy from Compton get over here with this dude in New York?
Right.
You know? So they didn't know what to say. They're just going to say, oh, they both light-skinned tattoos, they cousins. You know what I'm saying? But it was crazy.
Then you just sort of had to go along with that lie for a few years and just rock with it?
Yeah, just rock with it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's Hollywood. It's the industry. Don't believe everything you read. That's a real deal statement.
Back on track. The following year, Tyga linked up with the already massively successful Chris Brown, forming a close bond that led to several collaborative projects between 2010 and 2015. These projects helped Tyga build his core audience while refining his sound. His well-done mixtape series was well received, but it was his collaborations with Chris Brown that truly stood out. Their 2010 project, Fan of a Fan, featured that hit single Deuces with Kevin McCall, earning Tyga his first and only ever Grammy nomination till this day. Riding the wave of momentum in 2012, Tyga dropped his second studio album, Careless World: Rise of the Last King. The album featured the track that would become his signature anthem, Rack City. Even now, over a decade later, the song remains a defining moment in Tyga's career and a staple in hip-hop party playlists worldwide. While Tyga was riding high off the success of his second album, TMZ released some diabolical footage that threatened to shake up his carefully crafted image. The clip was from an unaired MTV show called Bustas, which Tyga had appeared on around the age of 15. The show featured aspiring rappers competing in cringeworthy challenges that leaned heavily into rap stereotypes. Think games like Guess the Rapper by His Grill and Is This a Real Rolex? In one particularly damning moment, Tyga is seen saying,
"Grew up, not too tough, parents got a Range Rover, CL600, doing it big, not too much hard, but I'm still street. Yeah, it's TYGA, they say I'm not hood cause I stay in the valley. They say I never been in the alley, I tell them cats, I've been in the alley."
What?
This clip effectively shattered the gangsta persona he had been building as fans questioned his street credibility. The following year, Tyga addressed the backlash, clarifying that he did grow up in Compton and Gardena area his entire life, and that the show was heavily scripted to make contestants look ridiculous.
Basically, it was a show. It wasn't 2008, because 2008 I had dropped my first independent album and I was on tour. So it was like 2006.
All right.
I was 15.
Okay.
When I did this. It wasn't called Busters at the time. It was a pilot. It was supposed to be like who's the next rapper to get signed or whatever, something like that. So, you know what I'm saying? How they twisted everything up and just made it look like something it wasn't. was crazy. And then the intro beginning was scripted. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never grew up in the Valley. Like I lived in Compton, Gardena my whole life. So for them to say that, it's just like, it's retarded.
Now, whether or not that explanation satisfied everyone is debatable, but one thing's for sure. Tyga didn't let the controversy slow him down at the time. He continued to rack up hits, collaborate with his Young Money label mates, and solidify his place in the rap game. Eventually though, Tyga's career hit a little bit of a lull as his Young Money label mates Drake and Nicki Minaj began to surpass him in popularity. While Tyga still managed to drop the occasional club banger, filled with his signature themes of sex, money, and partying, he struggled to maintain the same level of dominance in the rap game. Around 2014, Tyga found himself in the headlines again, but this time it wasn't for his music. His relationship with a 17-year-old Kylie Jenner sparked controversy due to the significant age gap, with Tyga being 24 at the time. Despite the backlash, memes, and media scrutiny, Tyga managed to weather the storm without it completely tarnishing his image. Despite Drake even dissing him with the infamous line, "Act your age, not your girl's age," a line that in hindsight, with all that Drake's going through, didn't really age too well. But after the success of his 2013 album Hotel California, his subsequent releases failed to make a significant impact, struggling to chart or sell strongly. To make matters worse, his time at Young Money wasn't all glitz and glamour. In 2014, Tyga took to Twitter to air his grievances, claiming he wanted off the label due to strained relationships with label mates like Drake and Nicki Minaj, as well as issues with unpaid royalties for his singles. Determined to take control of his career, Tyga launched his own label, Last King Records, and released the highly anticipated album, The Gold Album, in 2015. Despite the hype, boosted by the support from the Kardashians and distribution through Empire, the project flopped commercially. This period marked a rough patch for Tyga as he faced a string of setbacks from label drama to underperforming releases. The tensions between Tyga and Drake escalated in 2015, with Chris Brown backing Tyga in their public feud. However, throwing shots at Drake, who was dominating the rap game at the time, did little to help Tyga's career. Instead, it seemed to highlight how far he had fallen from his peak as he slowly faded into the background of the industry. In February 2018, Tyga tried to switch things up with his album Kyoto, going for a different sound than his usual strip club bangers. But honestly, it didn't really hit the mark as fans and critics weren't feeling it. Still, Tyga being Tyga, he didn't let that stop him. Later that same year, he bounced back hard with a feature on Iggy Azalea's track Cream. The song blew up, racking over 300 million views on YouTube, and Tyga was back in his bag, smooth, confident, and delivering those signature club-ready vibes. It was a solid reminder of why he became a star in the first place, showing that sometimes you gotta just stick with what works. The following year, Tyga dropped his 7th studio album, Legendary, on June 7, 2019. Still independent with the help from Empire for distribution at the time, the project featured the smash hit Taste with Offset, which marked Tyga's true comeback. The track became his second highest charting single of his career, trailing only behind Rack City from 2011. In 2024, Taste earned Tyga and Offset their first diamond record after selling over 10 million copies, and it remains his best performing song on Spotify with over 1.4 billion streams. In late 2019, after the success of Taste, Tyga decided it was time to go back to the machine and announced a new multi-million-dollar record deal with Columbia Records. Quote, "We've been able to do a lot in a year." Tyga said of his relationship with Empire, it was a do-it-yourself motto, learning how to get from point A to B. Now, doing a deal through Columbia, it's like I already know the ropes. At this point in his career, Tyga has experienced the highs and lows that come with the music industry. Through it all, he's managed to stay afloat thanks to his connections, occasional hit singles, and ventures into streaming. He's also managed to maintain a strong bond with his mentor Lil Wayne, frequently appearing on the Young Money Radio podcast on Apple Music. As of 2025, Tyga released his 8th album, Not Safe for Work, and appears to be proving that he's an artist you can't simply count out. But let's be real, maintaining a career in the ruthless and fickle music industry often comes with sacrifices. To stay in the spotlight, artists sometimes have to walk through certain doors that test their integrity and even their soul. On June 24, 2022, during the tail end of Pride Month, frequent LA collaborators Tyga and YG dropped their track Run, featuring Bia and 21 Savage. The song came with a high-budget music video filmed in California, parodying the classic comedy White Chicks, where the Wayne brothers famously dress in drag. But Tyga and YG added their own twist. They played bank robbers using drag as their disguise, adopting the fictional personas of the Calabasas sisters. But let's break down what this meant for Tyga. And while both artists participated in the video's over-the-top concept, I'll be focusing specifically on how this moment served as a humiliation ritual for Tyga, a reoccurring theme in the entertainment industry. Firstly, you can see how the video was released on June 24th, a date with 30 numerology, matching the word drag, which they dressed in for the video. In light of it being released on the 24th day of the month, notice both the words drag and woman equate to 24 and the reverse reduction cipher. Now, them dressing in drag during Pride Month is really just the cherry on top, but notice how Pride Month equals 59 like the words humiliation, Negro, slave, and record deal. Now think about how many artists constantly express their frustrations with the very labels that give them their fame, with Tyga being no exception as we discussed earlier. Tyga even said that his label was, quote, holding me hostage at one point, kinda like he was a slave to his deal, working and not being paid. However, like the 3 doors to success suggest, once you go independent, you're up against the machine, and Tyga did that for about 4 years, only to see the biggest lows of his career. And when he finally did catch some steam, he immediately signed a record deal where he's now managed to stay in the limelight, but only now is he experiencing the downsides of his bargain. On February 21st, Tyga announced that his mother, Pajane Nguyen, passed away on Instagram, sharing a heartfelt post with pictures of them together. What's interesting is that he waited exactly 34 days to share this news. The words mother, murder, and rapper all equal 34. His mom reportedly passed away at the age of 53 years old. This syncs with his stage name Tyga, and Tyga has mentioned that his mom inspired his stage name.
Tyga, I got this name when I was young. My mom used to say I looked like Tiger Woods, so I just stuck with that.
The date his mom passed was January 18, 2025, a date written 1/18 like the number 118. Notice the word death equals 118 in the Latin cipher, another important cipher outside the 4 base. In addition, the date Tyga broke the news on his Instagram, February 21st, has 14 numerology, matching the words mom and dead. Another pattern we've seen on the channel before is the kill date, where a few times throughout the career, there are days in a month where the date numerology adds up to the numbers 64, 28, 44, and 17, which all sync with the word kill in the 4 base ciphers. Now I want to add that the cause of his mother's death has yet to be revealed at the time of recording, however I'm just pointing out these numerical patterns. From his mother's 53rd to the announcement was a span of 163 days. 163 is the 38th prime number, matching all the words you could see on the screen. When it comes to the practice of gematria, it involves a ton of pattern recognition. And remember, his mom died at the age of 53, remember that. And we saw how that matches with his name. Well, back in 2011, Tyga was nominated for his one and only Grammy till this day, which happened to be the 53rd annual Grammy Awards. Again, this just shows how they sync big moments in these artists' lives and with their names and whatnot. Earlier, I mentioned that Tyga dropped a new album titled Not Safe for Work, which happened to be released 20 days after the passing of his mother on the 38th day of the year. Notice the word death equals 38 and 20. And to kind of tie this all together so you could see how the doors to success appear to play out, let's recap his journey. Tyga was signed to a major early on and experienced the boost that the machine can offer, only to quickly realize that what he had signed up for was far from what it appeared, and eventually leaving his label in 2014, 2015-ish, going independent. Unfortunately, I can't play the Nori interview clip due to copyright, but he implies that when an artist takes the independent route, they'll likely have a hard time making the same type of splash on the scene as they would while still signed. And that's exactly what happened to Tyga upon going independent and selling the lowest numbers in his career. But then in a turn of events, after a few years of being independent, Tyga strikes gold with a new single and decides to sign a new record deal with Columbia Records, mentioning in an interview that his decision was fueled by a desire to reach new markets. Quote, "I have a lot of fans worldwide in places I've never been like South America and in places I have been like Asia and Europe. Sony can help bring that to a larger scale." This statement just proves that he needed the machine behind him, but unfortunately for him, this just meant signing himself away and in the process resulting in the loss of his mother at the young age of 53 years old. I mean, just think about it. After he signs his new deal a few short years later, he's dressing in drag with fellow LA gangsta rapper YG, and then a few more years later, his mom passes away, only to shortly after drop an album and announce a new tour starting March of this year. If that doesn't sound like an artist who's gone through the doors and made his Faustian bargain, I don't know what does. But to top it off, these puppet masters, if you want to call them that, like to play numerical riddles with the code. On his latest album, the last track is titled Slave, which so happens to be the 17th track. Remember earlier I showed the number 59 and its connections to words like record deal, Negro, and slave. Well, what do you know, the number 59 is the 17th prime number. This is likely why they placed the track Slave on the last track of a 17-song album. It's very similar to what they did for Busta Rhymes on his 22-track album released in 2020, where the last track, number 22, is titled Satanic, when the word satanic equals 22. And the album did have a very creepy theme to it, but yeah, it's really just numerical riddles with the codes, and these labels picking the song titles, album names, album arts, and release dates to sync these riddles to the artist. But in the case of Tyga, it's like the label is mocking him as just another slave on the label. And to top it off, the song comes off the back of his album released in February, which is, of course, Black History Month. And for those that are unaware, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year by no coincidence. For those a little more interested in that topic, I recommend you check out this older video of mine I did on the number 59 and 42 and their significance. Tyga's new 2025 tour he announced is the Red Light Tour, which equals 67, matching the words blood and human sacrifice. Of course, I mentioned this in light of his recent loss. And for those who think this is just another conspiracy, consider Kanye West and the tragic loss of his mother. Kanye himself has openly stated that she was sacrificed.
Right? I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed. My mama was sacrificed.
I know some people will argue that Kanye isn't in his right mind, especially given his behavior in recent years, and while I don't agree with everything he's said or done, it's worth noting that the people he's called out in his infamous X rants are very real players in the music industry. Remember, the mainstream media has a habit of painting anyone who speaks out against the system as crazy to discredit their message, but that's a topic for another video. In conclusion, Tyga over his decade-plus career has, in my opinion, walked through each of the 3 doors to success. While he's seen a resurgence in recent years, the loss of his mother is undoubtedly a heavy burden, and regardless of the circumstances, I want to take a moment to say rest in peace. As for Tyga's career, only time will tell what's next. Will he end up doing crazy numbers on his tour, release a new chart-topping single? Who's to say what can happen? If there's one thing for certain though, it's that nothing is guaranteed in this life other than death. And as the definition of the Faustian bargain goes, they are by their nature tragic or self-defeating for the person who makes them, because what is surrendered is ultimately far more valuable than what is obtained, whether or not the bargainer appreciates that fact. Anyways, y'all, that's all I got. As always, I appreciate you for sticking around until the end. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons for me, share the video, and of course, drop me a comment down below as I want to hear your thoughts on this. It's been your boy Script, and I'm out of here. Peace.